Fame can put a relationship on the front page, but it cannot tell the whole story of what happens when the lights go out. Some met before success arrived, some went through major career shifts together, and some marriages ultimately chose two separate paths. In this video, 16 stories will be revisited through real milestones, rather than judgments about age or appearance. As you watch, let us know which story made you think the most. If you love this content, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell to see us in the next video. Before their private lives became a subject of public attention, Valery Mlodza and Albina Zhanabayeva both had their own positions in the entertainment industry. Mlodza was a famous singer, while Zhanabayeva had been active in the group Via Gra and pursued her own solo music career.
Ну, во-первых, конечно, я люблю все песни, которые написал Костя, потому что, они знали, что они удачные. И вообще.
The relationship between the two has a complex history. Their first son, Konstantin, was born in 2004, while Mlodza was still in his first marriage. In 2014, his previous marriage ended, and in the same year, Zhanabayeva gave birth to their second son, Luka. Since then, Valery and Albina have continued to build their family life, while interest in them has never completely faded. Past decisions once caused this relationship to receive many conflicting opinions, but time has also shown that their story is not just about the initial debates. Behind the headlines about their private lives are two artists who continue to work, raise children, and try to keep a part of their family life away from excessive public attention. The easiest thing to overlook is that Albina does not only exist in the story as the partner of a famous star. Years of working with Via Gra helped her establish her own professional mark before turning to a solo path. Therefore, if one only looks at her through the controversies surrounding her relationship with Mlodza, a significant part of her personhood and career is missed. After many years, Valery and Albina's story still shows a familiar reality of celebrity life. The public may know the major milestones, but never sees the entirety of what happens inside a family. The past cannot be rewritten, but people must continue to live with the choices they have made, the responsibilities they have, and the things they want to build for the future. With the next couple, a relationship that lasted nearly 11 years ended in a very different direction. When Andrei Arshavin and Yulia Baranovskaya began their relationship in the early 2000s, their lives were far from the level of attention that fame would later bring. They were together for nearly 11 years and had 3 children, Artem, Yana, and Arseny. The two lived as a family for many years but did not officially register their marriage. During that time, Arshavin's football career flourished, taking him from Russian football to the bigger stage of European football. By 2012, the relationship came to an end while Baranovskaya was pregnant with their third child. This became a difficult period in her life, but instead of letting the subsequent years be defined only by the breakup, Yulia gradually built an independent reputation from her past. Baranovskaya later became a familiar face on Russian television. That shift gave her story a completely different chapter. From someone primarily mentioned alongside the name of a famous player, she step by step formed her own public position. What is noteworthy is not turning a breakup into a story of victory or defeat, but how a person's life can still continue to develop after a long-term relationship ends.
If you have a look around here, everyone is speaking about it's gonna be like this in Russia if we get World Cup.
Andrei and Yulia still have an inseparable part of history, 3 children and nearly a decade of building a family together. What happened afterward does not make that time disappear, nor does it need to turn either into a completely good or completely bad character. Sometimes the value of a story lies in recognizing that the end of a relationship does not mean the end of a person. And if this story is linked to finding a separate path, the next couple entered marriage when both already had fame from very different worlds. Before Tatiana Navka's name frequently appeared alongside Dmitry Peskov, she stood on a completely different international stage. Along with Roman Kostomarov, Navka won the World Championship in ice dancing in 2004 and 2005.
Concentrate on me and Roman, so we did very, very good today. And the Russian audience, even Italian, was pretty nice to us.
Then reached the pinnacle with an Olympic gold medal at the 2006 Winter Games. Those achievements made her one of the most prominent figure skaters of her generation. Years after her Olympic peak, Navka's personal life received more attention when she built a relationship with Dmitry Peskov. The two had a daughter, Nadezhda, in 2014 and held a wedding ceremony in Sochi on August 1, 2015. This was Navka's second marriage and Peskov's third. The combination of an Olympic champion and a high-level political figure ensures their lives receive much more interest than a normal family. But Navka has never had an identity tied only to that marriage. Before that were thousands of hours of training, international seasons, world championships, and an Olympic gold medal she earned through her own athletic career. Putting those achievements back in their proper place makes her story more complete. Fame often causes a person to be seen through their relationship with someone else, but personal achievements do not disappear just because their private life becomes a subject of interest. In Tatiana Navka's case, what she achieved on the ice was established long before her marriage to Peskov. And that is also the most memorable thing. A relationship can become a prominent part of a life, but does not necessarily have to become that person's entire identity.
With the members and with the candidates. Well, of course, on expert level.
Tatiana Navka's story also poses an interesting question. When a celebrity enters a high-profile marriage, do their previous achievements easily become overshadowed? Please share your thoughts in the comments. And if you have followed this list this far, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the stories to come. We still have many couples with completely different journeys waiting ahead. Josh Holloway entered public life as the character Sawyer in Lost, a role that made him a familiar face to television audiences globally. But the most important relationship in his life began before that time. Holloway met Jessica Kumala in Los Angeles in 1999. According to accounts recalled in profiles of the couple, Kumala was the one who initiated the conversation and asked for his phone number. The two married in October 2004, just as Lost began to take Holloway's career to a completely different level. In the following years, Holloway became a sought-after actor while Kumala chose a more private life. The couple has two children, daughter Java, born in 2009, and son Hunter, born in 2014. Kumala rarely appears before the media and does not build a public image in the way often seen with the partners of Hollywood stars. It is that difference that has kept their family largely away from the constant cycles of entertainment press attention. Holloway has spoken positively many times about the role of family in his life. Behind a career that demands long filming schedules and frequent travel, he still emphasizes his relationship with his wife and children as a vital part of keeping his life in balance. What is noteworthy here is not turning privacy into proof of a perfect marriage, but how the two chose not to let fame become the center of their family life. After more than 2 decades since getting married, Josh Holloway and Jessica Kumala show a rather different way of existing in the entertainment world a person can live before millions of viewers but still keep the most important part of their life relatively far from the spotlight. The value of the story lies in that very boundary. Not everything meaningful needs to be public, and sometimes stability is built from choices that the public almost never sees. Many viewers know Hugh Laurie through Gregory House, the sharp and conflicted doctor in House MD. But before that role turned Laurie into an international television star, his family life had been formed many years prior. Laurie married Joe Green on June 16, 1989. They have 3 children, Charles William and Rebecca. The marriage began while Laurie was still building his name in the UK through acting, comedy, and other television projects, long before the wave of global fame that arrived with House. Jo Green has almost always kept herself out of the spotlight. While Laurie developed a career spanning from acting, comedy, and writing to music, she did not seek to turn the position of a famous actor's partner into a separate public image. Their family is primarily tied to London, while his later career required Laurie to spend a lot of time working in the US. It is the gap between the image on screen and life outside that gives Laurie's story a unique touch. Audiences have seen him transform into characters larger than life, but his marriage of several decades to Green has taken place largely without the need for grand statements. There is no reason to describe it as a perfect story. Simply maintaining a family through many stages of professional change is a noteworthy reality in itself. Hugh Laurie and Jo Green thus suggest a different perspective on fame. Professional success can make a person familiar to the whole world, but that does not mean every part of their life must belong to the public. After decades together and raising 3 children, their story reminds us that stability is sometimes expressed not by big moments, but by the ability to continue maintaining a life together when the surrounding circumstances are constantly changing. Priscilla Chan met Mark Zuckerberg at Harvard in 2003, before Facebook became one of the most influential technology companies in the world. At that time, they were still just young students, standing before paths no one could fully predict. The two began dating after that meeting, and married in May 2012 in a small ceremony at their home in Palo Alto. Guests originally thought they were coming to celebrate Chan's medical school graduation, but ultimately witnessed the couple's wedding. While Zuckerberg's career is tied closely to Facebook, then Meta, Chan built her own path in medicine and social work. She graduated from medical school at the University of California, San Francisco, completed her pediatric training, and then became one of the co-founders of the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. Chan currently serves as the co-CEO of this organization, focusing heavily on biomedical research and developing technology to support science.
It's just an honor.
You're tearing up. What are you thinking about?
It's where patients needed more knowledge to be created.
Family has also become an important part of their shared goals. Their first daughter, Maxima, was born in 2015, followed by August in 2017 and Aurelia in 2023. When Max was born, Zuckerberg and Chan published a letter speaking about the world they hoped their children's generation could grow up in. This period was also linked to the birth of the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative and their plan to dedicate the majority of their wealth to long-term social goals. The most noteworthy thing in this story is that Priscilla Chan is not just the person standing next to one of the most famous entrepreneurs in the world. She has a medical background experience in patient care and a clear leadership role in the projects the two pursue together. Therefore, seeing Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's relationship only through wealth or fame would miss a large part of the story. A long-term relationship is defined not only by two people appearing together, but also by the values, responsibilities, and goals they choose to build together. Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan's story shows that behind the astronomical numbers and global fame is still a story of two people choosing to build their lives according to shared priorities. Are you more impressed with their long-term emotional journey or the separate path Priscilla Chan has created outside the Zuckerberg name? Please leave your opinions in the comments. If you like stories like this, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because the list still has couples with very different stories waiting ahead. In 1997, David Beckham was still establishing his position in the Manchester United jersey, while Victoria Adams was already part of the Spice Girls, the girl group creating a global phenomenon. The two met at a football match, began dating, and quickly became one of the most followed couples by the British media. They became engaged in 1998, welcomed their first son Brooklyn in March 1999, and married in Ireland on July 4 of the same year. Afterward, the family added Romeo Cruz and Harper. Their life together also changed with every career turning point. When David moved from Manchester United to Real Madrid in 2003 and then to LA Galaxy, the whole family had to adapt to new cities, environments, and levels of attention. Parallel to that, Victoria gradually shifted from music to fashion and built a brand bearing her own name. Since both have their own careers, their image is not just about a famous person and a partner standing behind, but two professional paths developing side by side within the same family. For many years, David and Victoria's marriage frequently appeared in press rumors and speculation. But what can be confirmed is that they still continue to publicly support each other's work and maintain their family through many stages of major change. As they celebrated their 26th wedding anniversary in July 2025, both mentioned their 4 children as a central part of their shared journey. What makes their story outlast the headlines that once surrounded it is not the image of a marriage without difficulties. It is the fact that two people started together when they were very young and then had to constantly adapt as their careers, family, and public lives changed. More than 2 decades later, David and Victoria still show that a long-term relationship is not built on everything always staying the same as the beginning, but from the ability to continue adjusting as both of their lives keep moving. Before power turned Omari Hardwick into one of the most recognizable faces of American television, Jennifer Fauch was present during a less certain period of his career. The two married in 2012 before Hardwick took the role of James Ghost St. Patrick, the character that would later be inseparable from his name. Jennifer used to work in the field of public relations, and that experience also became a noteworthy part of how she supported her husband in viewing his career. Hardwick once revealed that he was initially hesitant about the opportunity to join Power. Jennifer encouraged him to look beyond initial concerns and seriously consider the role. Subsequently, Power became a major turning point in Hardwick's career. This story does not mean his success belongs to another person, but it shows that career decisions are sometimes formed from private conversations that the audience never sees. As Hardwick's fame grew, Jennifer and his family also had to face attention they did not necessarily choose. Hardwick once publicly asked fans to treat his wife and children with respect when approaching him in public. In another exchange, he emphasized that Jennifer had accompanied him since before his greatest successes appeared. Behind the powerful character Ghost, on screen is a quieter, real-life story of companionship. Jennifer does not need to become as famous as her husband for her role to be meaningful. Sometimes, the most important influence in a person's life does not appear on the red carpet or in the end credits. It lies in the advice, trust, and ability to see a person's potential at a time when they are still weighing their path forward. If only knowing Tony Goldwyn through President Fitzgerald Grant in Scandal, many might be surprised to learn that his marriage began long before that era. Goldwyn met Jane Muskie in the early 1980s. After about 5 years of dating, they married in 1987 and later had 2 daughters, Anna and Tess. Jane is not someone outside the entertainment industry. She built her own career as a production designer and has worked on famous films such as When Harry Met Sally and Ghost. The professional overlap between the two even appeared at a key moment in Goldwyn's career. Jane worked in the design department of Ghost, the 1990 film in which Goldwyn played Carl Brunner. According to later shares, she also had a role in helping him access the audition opportunity. The film became one of the first prominent works to bring Goldwyn to a wider audience. But behind professional milestones is a family where creativity seems to become a shared language. Their two daughters also entered the entertainment field. Anna works in writing, while Tess acts as an actress and screenwriter. Goldwyn has spoken of the deep friendship he has with his children, while emphasizing the exchange of ideas and mutual support among members in the same profession.
Leave them in our cars, because there have been leaks. And,
Security at the White House.
I agree with you.
It's crazy.
That's right.
After decades, what is noteworthy about Tony and Jane does not lie in a perfect image created for the public. Both have their own careers, responsibilities, and identities, but still find ways to build a family in an industry that often demands erratic schedules and great attention. A long-term marriage, thus, does not necessarily need one person standing in front and one person standing behind. Sometimes it is best maintained when both are seen as individuals with equal value. A 2006 music video brought John Legend and Chrissy Teigen into the same room. Teigen appeared in Legend's stereo video, and that meeting opened a relationship that has lasted through many different stages of life. After years of dating, they married at Lake Como, Italy in September 2013. A decade later, they returned to this area to hold a recommitment ceremony, marking the journey they have gone through together. Their family later grew with Luna, born in 2016, Miles, born in 2018, Esty, born in early 2023, and Ren, born via surrogate in June of the same year. John and Chrissy have also publicly spoken about difficulties in their journey to have children, including IVF treatment and a pregnancy loss in 2020. Instead of turning those experiences into an easy image of celebrity life, they have acknowledged both the joy and the painful periods of their family. Chrissy is also one of the celebrities with a very direct public life, from work and cooking to parenting experiences. That means she frequently receives both support and criticism online. John has a more private public style, but the two have shown many times that they do not need to be the same to maintain a relationship. In 2025, Legend described the foundation of the marriage with a fairly simple point: always supporting and standing by each other through joy, sorrow, and challenge. The story of John Legend and Chrissy Teigen is thus compelling not because it fits the mold of a perfect couple. It is the fact that their life contains moments of happiness, loss, change, and new responsibilities that makes it closer to real life. After more than a decade of marriage and a family of 4 children, the value lies in the ability to continue growing beside another person without requiring them to become a version identical to oneself. If you had to choose one thing that helped John Legend and Chrissy Teigen stay together through so many changes, do you think it is love, understanding, or the ability to always stand by each other when things get tough? Please write your choice in the comments. If this story makes you want to continue exploring famous relationships behind the spotlight, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. The next positions on the list have journeys of love with very different turning points. Paul Rudd met Julie Yeager in the mid-1990s, just as his career began to change after Clueless. When he first moved to New York, Rudd arrived at the office of a public relations firm with his luggage still in hand. Yeager worked in PR at the time and helped him look after his things while he hurried to an audition. The next day, the two went out for lunch. A very normal meeting became the starting point for a relationship spanning decades. They married in 2003 and later had 2 children, Jack and Darby. As Rudd gradually became a familiar face through comedy films, television, and later Marvel, Yeager still kept a relatively private life, but that does not mean she stands outside the creative world. After a period working in media, she transitioned to screenwriting and production. Yeager wrote the film Fun Mom Dinner in 2017, while Rudd participated in the project as a producer and actor. By 2026, the two continued to have professional overlap when Yeager participated in the production of Rain, Rain, a film starring Rudd. Rudd once said that when he thinks of himself, what appears first is not fame, but the role of husband and father. Outside of work, he prioritizes being with family, which fits well with the way the couple has maintained their private life away from the constant attention of Hollywood. Memorable point in Paul and Julie's story. The success of one person does not necessarily have to turn the other into a secondary character. In more than 2 decades of marriage, they have both kept a family space and had times to create together. Stability here does not need grand declarations. It is seen through a life where both can still develop in their own way, but continue to find common points to walk together. Aaron Taylor Johnson and Sam Taylor Johnson met through work. Sam was the director of Nowhere Boy, the John Lennon biopic in which Aaron took the lead role. After the process of making the film, their relationship developed outside of work. The two have an age difference of 23 years, and that has made their marriage a topic of debate for the media and the public for many years. But instead of letting outside debates become the whole story, Aaron and Sam gradually built a shared family. Daughter Wilder Ray was born in 2010, followed by Romy Hero in 2012. Also in 2012, they married in Somerset, England. Aaron later used the double surname Taylor Johnson in his career, and once said that carrying a shared name had special meaning to him. Both also continued to develop their own careers. Aaron appeared in projects such as Anna Karenina, Avengers Age of Ultron, and many other major films, while Sam continued to direct and work in art. After Nowhere Boy, they also collaborated again in A Million Little Pieces. By 2022, on the occasion of their 10th wedding anniversary, the two held a recommitment ceremony before family and friends. The age difference between Aaron and Sam is a fact, but it cannot by itself explain an entire marriage. The two have said publicly many times that they see the relationship based on connection and the way they live together, rather than how outsiders judge the age gap. Their story thus poses something worth thinking about. The public may have opinions about celebrities, but only those involved actually live through every day of the relationship. A production of Romeo and Juliet brought Clive Owen and Sarah Jane Fenton together long before Owen became an international film star. After graduating from drama school, Owen joined a months-long tour and played Romeo, while Fenton played Juliet. Owen once recalled that from the very first rehearsal, when he saw her walk in with a stack of books in her hand, he was immediately attracted. Their relationship began during the tour and ultimately transitioned from a stage story to a real life together. The two married in 1995 and have 2 daughters, Hannah and Eve. While Owen's career increasingly expanded with cinema and international projects, the family chose to live primarily in London. Owen once explained that he did not see the need to move the whole family to Los Angeles just to serve his career, especially as film work has become increasingly international and frequently requires travel. Sarah Jane also has an acting background of her own. Before and during the early years of the marriage, she appeared in many stage, television, and film projects. Later, she chose a path less seen before the public, while Owen became familiar to audiences through films like Closer, Children of Men, and Inside Man. The fact that their levels of fame differ does not detract from the reality that they started from the same creative environment. From a stage tour to a marriage spanning decades, Clive Owen and Sarah Jane Fenton's story doesn't need to be highlighted by comparisons of looks or status. What is more noteworthy lies in how the two built a stable life while one person's career became increasingly global. Sometimes a durable relationship is not proven by the level of public appearance, but by the fact that two people still create a place to return to after major changes in life. From Romeo and Juliet on stage to a marriage lasting decades in real life, Clive Owen and Sarah Jane Fenton have a beginning that cinema had almost already written for them. But in your opinion, what actually helps a relationship survive when one person becomes increasingly famous while the other chooses a more private life? Please share your thoughts in the comments. If you are still following the list to number 4, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Only a few positions left, and the final stories might make you look at celebrity couples in a completely different way. Jesse Williams and Aaron Drake Lee knew each other since before Grey's Anatomy brought his name to millions of viewers. When the two met in New York, Williams was still working as a teacher before transitioning fully into acting. Drake Lee worked in real estate, and in a 2010 interview, Williams mentioned that she had accompanied him through many different stages of his career. After years together, they married in September 2012. The two later had daughter Sadie in 2014 and son Maceo in 2015. At that time, Williams' career had moved into a completely different chapter. The role of Dr. Jackson Avery helped him become one of the prominent faces of Grey's Anatomy, bringing a higher level of attention to his life off-screen. Drake Lee, not active in the entertainment industry, was also drawn into public discussions that she previously did not have to face. However, the history of the two began many years before fame became a large part of Williams' life. In 2017, Williams filed for divorce. The following years witnessed many publicized disagreements regarding parenting and post-divorce agreements. Instead of speculating on a single cause for the breakdown, it is more accurate to acknowledge that their relationship went from a long period together to a complex breakup in which parenting responsibilities continue even after the marriage has ended. Jesse and Aaron's story shows that a relationship does not need to last forever to have a history that deserves to be viewed fairly. Aaron had been present in Williams' life since before his most famous period, and the two are always connected by their two children. When a marriage ends, what remains is not just a story about parting, but also a responsibility toward what the two have built together. When Hugh Jackman stepped onto the set of the Australian television series Corelli in 1995, Deborah Lee Furness was already an experienced actor with a larger name than his at that time. The meeting through work quickly developed into an off-screen relationship, and the two married in April 1996. Afterward, they built a family with 2 adopted children, Oscar and Ava. Over nearly 3 decades, Furness was with Jackman as his career developed from Australian stage and television to global Hollywood projects. The 13-year age gap between the two received a lot of attention, but during the years of marriage, Jackman often spoke publicly about Furness with appreciation. As they celebrated their 27th wedding anniversary in April 2023, he still referred to the family they had created and the qualities he loved in her. Those shared words reflect a long chapter in their lives, but not the final chapter. In September 2023, Jackman and Furness announced together that they had decided to separate after 27 years of marriage. In a joint statement, they said their journey was changing and affirmed that family remained a priority. Furness filed for divorce in May 2025, and the procedures were finalized in June of the same year. Therefore, their story now needs to be told in line with the reality that this is a marriage that has ended, rather than describing them as a couple still together. Nearly 3 decades cannot be reduced just to how a marriage ends. During that time, Hugh and Deborah Lee raised a family, went through many career changes, and appeared together in many milestones of each other's lives. A relationship can change form without making the entire past meaningless. Sometimes the fairest view is to acknowledge both truths at once. They had a long journey together, and that journey finally came to an end. In 1994 in Mexico, a chance meeting opened a new chapter in Pierce Brosnan's life. At that time, Brosnan had experienced deep loss after his first wife, Cassandra Harris, died of ovarian cancer in 1991. Keely Shea Smith, a journalist on assignment in Mexico, met Brosnan in a situation that was not at all arranged, like a love story. The two began dating shortly after, and the relationship gradually became a stable part of both of their lives. They welcomed son Dylan in 1997 and Paris in 2001, before marrying in Ireland, also in 2001. Keely does not only have a life tied to the family, she has worked as a journalist, host, producer, and director, while also being interested in environmental issues. While Brosnan continued his film career after the James Bond era, the two often appeared together at events, but maintained a large part of their family life away from the constant attention of the media. Over the years, Keely's appearance sometimes became the target of unnecessary public comments. Brosnan has many times shown appreciation for his wife, but the value of this relationship does not lie in one person needing to defend the appearance of the other. What is more noteworthy is that they have gone through more than 3 decades since their first meeting, raised 2 children, and maintained the relationship in an environment where private life is frequently placed under a public microscope. In 2026, they celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. Pierce and Keely closed the list with a simple value easily forgotten in celebrity culture: a human being should not be judged by whether they meet the aesthetic standards of outsiders. After more than 30 years together, their story is more meaningful when viewed through friendship, family, companionship, and the choice to continue sharing life. Time changes the appearance of all of us. What is more memorable is how 2 people treat each other during that entire time. Coming to the end of the list, perhaps the most memorable thing is not which couple is more famous or which marriage lasted the longest. What is memorable is that behind every name are years, choices, responsibilities, and changes that a red carpet photo cannot fully show. There are journeys that continue. There are journeys that have closed. But each story leaves its own perspective on companionship. Which couple will you choose to mention first? Write their names in the comments, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell if you want to continue exploring stories like this with us.